before Henry V became England's greatest warrior king. He was known as a reckless young prince. Stories spread of Henry spending time in taverns, surrounding himself with fighters and troublemakers, while England fell deeper into chaos. Meanwhile, his father, King Henry IV, was growing weak and seriously ill. Many doubted the young prince was ready to rule, but when Henry finally took the throne, everything changed. Henry V claimed he was the rightful king of France, and to the French nobility, the idea was ridiculous. But Henry believed the French crown belonged to him by bloodline, and he was determined to take it. So he sent demands to France, expecting recognition. Instead, according to legend, the French Dauphin sent Henry a chest filled with tennis balls. It was an insult, a message that the King of England was still just a reckless young prince, more suited to games than war. But the French had badly underestimated him, because instead of backing down, Henry began preparing for invasion. Ships were gathered, soldiers recruited, and across England, war was approaching. Soon, Henry V would sail for France, and his name would become legendary. In 1415, Henry V sailed for France with an army that should never have won. His claim to the French throne had turned into full-scale war. Thousands of English soldiers crossed the Channel, heading straight into enemy territory. But almost immediately, everything began going wrong. Disease spread through the camps, supplies ran low, and the deeper Henry marched into France, the worse conditions became. Rain turned roads into mud. Soldiers grew exhausted. Many were already sick before battle had even begun. Meanwhile, the French were gathering a far larger army, experienced knights, heavy cavalry, thousands of men waiting to crush the English invasion. By the time Henry marched toward a small village called Agincourt, his army was tired, starving, and badly outnumbered. But what happened next would become one of the greatest victories in military history. At Agincourt, the English army should have been destroyed. Henry V's soldiers were starving, exhausted, and heavily outnumbered. Facing them was one of the most powerful French armies ever assembled, with thousands of armored knights ready to crush the English invasion. But Henry had one deadly advantage: the English longbowmen. As the French advanced, English archers planted sharpened stakes into the mud and prepared to fire. Then the French cavalry charged, but days of rain had turned the battlefield into deep mud. Passes slipped, knights fell, and arrows rained down onto the French army. The narrow battlefield trapped the French soldiers together and turned their own numbers against them. Heavy armor dragged men into the mud as panic spread across the battlefield. Against impossible odds, Henry V's exhausted army began doing the impossible. By the end of the battle, thousands of French soldiers lay dead, and Henry V had won one of the greatest victories in military history. Henry V had achieved the impossible. The French army lay completely ruined in the mud of Agincourt. But victory in the medieval world was brutal. Fearing a French rally, Henry ordered the execution of hundreds of elite prisoners. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. Henry's exhausted, disease-ridden army still had to march to the coast. When Henry returned home, he was hailed as a legendary warrior king. But the massive invasion had pushed England's finances to the absolute brink. For 5 more years, the bloody campaigns dragged on, until the broken French were forced to sign the Treaty of Troyes. Henry was officially named the rightful heir to the French throne. He had won everything he ever fought for, but the actual crown of France would completely elude him. Just 2 years later, the warrior king died of dysentery at age 35. He decoded the art of war, but time conquered the king. Like and follow for more empire decoding.